library on 12th Street had a peculiar silence to it, not the kind that felt empty, but the kind that held secrets. Clara Monroe knew that silence well. She'd been visiting the library every Tuesday for nearly a year, always at 8:03 a.m., always with her navy scarf wrapped twice around her neck, even in the heat of July. She never borrowed books. She never spoke to anyone. She sat at the same table near the window where the light spilled across her notebook like a spotlight. Her pen moved constantly, but her eyes rarely did. She was 17, but carried herself like someone who had already lived through several lifetimes. Mr. Dempsey, the librarian, had noticed her from the beginning. He was in his 60s, with silver hair and a voice that sounded like it belonged on a jazz record. He never asked questions. He just made sure her table was clean, the radiator worked, and the lights above her didn't flicker. One Tuesday, Clara didn't come. Mr. Dempsey waited. 8:03 came and went. No Clara. She returned the next week, her scarf missing, her eyes swollen. She didn't write that day. She just stared out the window. Mr. Dempsey brought her a cup of tea. "Chamomile," he said softly. "Good for the soul." She looked at him, surprised. "Thank you," she whispered. That was the first word she ever spoke to him. Over the next few weeks, Clara returned to writing, her notebook filled with sketches of strangers, snippets of overheard conversations, and poems that read like confessions. Mr. Dempsey never read them, but he knew they mattered. He could see it in the way she held her pen, like it was the only thing keeping her together. One rainy Tuesday, a boy walked into the library. He was tall, with messy hair and a camera slung around his neck. He looked around, uncertain, then spotted Clara and walked over. "Is this seat taken?" he asked. She hesitated, then shook her head. "I'm Theo," he said, sitting down. She didn't reply. He smiled. "Cool scarf." She didn't smile back. Theo came back the next Tuesday, and the one after that. He never brought books. He brought stories about the people he photographed, about the city, about his dream of making documentaries that told the truth. Clara listened. She never said much, but she started smiling. Sometimes she even laughed. One day Theo asked, "What do you write about?" She looked down. "People. Things I notice. Can I read something?" She shook her head. "Not yet." He didn't push. Weeks turned into months. Clara and Theo became a quiet pair, her writing, him editing photos. Mr. Dempsey started calling them the Tuesday Kids. One Tuesday, Clara arrived late. Her hands trembled. She sat down and stared at her notebook without opening it. Theo noticed. "You okay?" She didn't answer. He waited. Finally, she whispered, "My mom called." Theo blinked. "I thought you didn't talk to her." "I don't. Not since she left." "What did she say?" "She wants to meet. Says she's clean now. Says she wants to fix things." Theo leaned back. "Do you want that?" Clara didn't know. That night, she wrote a poem. It wasn't about her mother. It was about a girl standing at the edge of a bridge, not sure whether to jump or fly. She showed it to Theo. He read it twice. "You're incredible," he said. She looked away. "I just notice things." "No," he said. "You feel them." The next Tuesday, Clara didn't come. Theo waited. Mr. Dempsey waited. She didn't come the week after either. On the third Tuesday, she returned. Her scarf was back. Her eyes were tired but steady. She sat down. I met her. Theo didn't say anything. She's different. Or maybe I am. He nodded. How did it feel? Like opening a door I thought was locked forever. They sat in silence. Then Clara said, I want to write about it. All of it. Theo smiled. Then write. She did. She filled 3 notebooks in 2 months. Stories about her childhood, her mother's addiction, the nights she spent alone, the strangers who helped her, the ones who didn't. She wrote about Mr. Dempsey's humming, about Theo's camera, about the way the city could be cruel and kind in the same breath. One Tuesday, she handed Theo a stack of pages. I want you to read this. He took them home. He stayed up all night. The next morning he called her. Clara, this is a book. She laughed. It's just my life. Exactly. He helped her edit it, format it, submit it. They called it The Tuesdays That Saved Me. A small publisher picked it up. The advance wasn't much, but it was enough to buy a new coat, pay for a writing workshop, and take Mr. Dempsey out for dinner. The book came out in the spring. It didn't make the bestseller list, but it made people cry. It made them feel seen. One Tuesday, a woman walked into the library. She was in her 40s with tired eyes and a nervous smile. She approached Clara. Are you the girl who wrote that book? Clara nodded. The woman held up a copy. My daughter ran away last year. I didn't know how to reach her. But your book, it helped me understand. Clara didn't know what to say. The woman hugged her. Thank you. After she left, Clara sat down and wrote a new poem. The girl who wrote on Tuesdays found her voice in silence and gave it to the world. Theo took a photo of her that day, sunlight on her face, pen in hand, the city behind her. It became the cover of her second book. She kept coming to the library, even after the book tour. She wore different scarves now. She smiled more. She spoke to Mr. Dempsey about poetry and jazz. She helped Theo with his film projects. She mentored younger writers who came to the library looking for quiet. One Tuesday, she arrived with a box. Inside were 20 copies of her second book. She handed one to Mr. Dempsey. You're in here, she said. He opened to the first page. The man who kept the silence made space for a girl to become herself. He cried. Clara kept writing. She wrote about healing, about forgiveness, about the way people change. She wrote about the city, the library, the boy with the camera, and the librarian with jazz in his soul. She never missed a Tuesday, and every time she sat at that table near the window, the light spilled across her notebook like a spotlight. Because some stories aren't just written, they're lived.